Hi there, and welcome to Ian's Ngauge channel. I'm Ian. Here we are approaching the end of September, and it's time to talk new arrivals again. So, let's get on with it. First up is a new loco for my fleet, and it's a must-have for any BR Blue era modeller. I've been looking for a Class 47 in BR Blue since returning to the hobby over 3 years ago. They're like hen's teeth to sauce, other than the Minitrix versions, but they don't play nice with Code 55 track. I've waited and waited for Bachmann to release a new tooled version in BR Blue, and it's finally happened. The model features a coreless motor with twin shafts and 2 flywheels that provide drive to each bogie. All axles are driven, and pickup is via 8 of the 12 wheels, with the outside wheels of each bogie transferring power from the track. It has a metal chassis block, with the weight helping to give the loco good traction and pulling power. The model is fitted with a Next 18 decoder socket, and I've gone for the sound-fitted version, which uses an ESU LockSound 5 decoder. Speakers are pre-fitted to all models, whether they're sound-fitted or not. Directional lighting is available when running on DC or DCC, and cab lighting is available when operating on DCC. The model is nicely detailed with both moulded and separately fitted parts, including lamp irons, handrails and roof aerials. An accessory pack is also included that contains vacuum pipes, screw-link couplings, and there's even a snowplough included with this model. The side of the loco has some nice panelling and grills along with crisp logos and numbering. The roof has nicely detailed exhaust vents, panelling and fan grills. Unfortunately, my model has a couple of anomalies with the paintwork, with the silver stripe at one end of the loco being malformed. And there's also some paint bleed where the yellow paint runs into the blue. However, I have to stress that these are all but invisible when viewing the model from a normal distance, and I'm wondering if you noticed these small problems when I showed the images earlier. All things considered, it's a brilliant model, so thank you Bachmann for finally producing a new tooled version of this iconic loco in BR Blue. Can we now have a newly tooled Class 40 please? Oh, and if possible, a new Deltic. The next new arrival is a twin pack of Graham Farish Mark I RTC coaches in blue-red livery, representing the Railway Technical Centre's Laboratory 10 and Laboratory 11. Some who are watching may remember that I purchased Laboratory 23 a few months ago, although I must have been having a bit of a senior moment at the time, as I'd purchased it in the wrong livery. Thankfully, this time I'd got the livery I was aiming for. Both coaches are painted in the blue-red RTC livery that is more fitting for the BR Blue era that I'm modelling. Laboratory 10 was converted from a Mark I brake second open and was fitted with a generator and traction control equipment. It was mainly used to provide auxiliary power for the POP test train that was used to test the tilting suspension and braking mechanisms for the Advanced Passenger Train project. Laboratory 11 was converted from a Mark I brake second corridor and was part of the tribometer test train. The trib train, as it was more commonly called, contained equipment that was used to investigate the problems of low friction between the wheel and the railhead, known as adhesion. The aim of the trib train was to help trains brake more safely and accelerate more effectively. I don't think these coaches would ever have been in a train formation together, so it's intriguing that they've both been included in the same coach pack. Anyway, the models were originally released in 2019, and both of the coaches feature some excellent details. There are a good deal of separately fitted parts, and these have been fitted well, with no visible glue marks that I could see. The models each come with accessory bags that contain additional parts, including pipes and door closures should you want to fit them. The coach details are of a high standard, with items such as handrails, pipes, vents, rivets, window frames, door handles, buffer beams and gangways all looking good. The livery application is of a very high standard too, with no paint bleed or overrun between the different colours. The lettering and other transfers are crisp and legible, and most are easy to read without the need for magnification. There's also a small amount of underside detail, which is enough for me. Both coaches run freely on their metal wheels and have NEM coupling pockets that are fitted with Rapido-style couplers as standard. They're lovely models that I'm over the moon to have found, and are very welcome additions to my coaching stock box. As a Bachmann Collectors Club member, this year my free wagon was a 12-ton ventilated van in War Department bronze green livery, and I featured it in my March new arrivals video. I really like the van, especially the livery, so when I found out that Bachmann had released a 4-pack for only £50, I just couldn't resist picking one up. The vans feature mostly moulded detail, but I think they look great. The livery application on each van is excellent, with no visible glue marks or paint bleeding. Some of the tiny letters and numbers are visible with the naked eye, but all are legible under magnification. My only criticism is that all of the vans have the same running number, and I was under the impression that they'd be different. To be fair, Bachmann make no claim that the running numbers are different, so this was my misunderstanding. And it probably points to them making too many of the club member wagons, and this is their way of offloading them. I don't really have a problem with that, I'm just saying it would have been nice for them to have had different running numbers. Other than that, the models feature NEM coupling pockets and run very freely on their metal wheels. The 5 vans look great in a War Department rake, but they also mix well with other vans and private owner wagons of the same or similar era. Well, this looks intriguing. What on earth can this be? Well, maybe the section title gave it away, but for those who weren't paying attention, it's a small set of cleaning brushes that are intended to be used for cleaning the interior of watches. I have a different use for them though. As the brushes have lovely soft bristles, I'm intending to use them to clean the bodies of my locos and rolling stock before I photograph them. You wouldn't believe how much dust attaches itself to these miniature marvels the instant you take them out of the box. This usually isn't noticeable in most cases, but once photographed in close-up and displayed in 4K on a large TV or monitor, you see it all too clearly, and it looks awful, as can be seen in this example. So hopefully the brushes will help me to get clean photographs straight out of the camera, which will save a whole lot of time that I currently spend in post-processing removing the dust digitally. The final new arrival this month is a nifty little device called a sprog. This is a device that I've known about for quite some time, but I couldn't think of a suitable use case to make it a worthwhile purchase. However, while I was DCC fitting the Graham Farish 64XX earlier this month, it occurred to me how much more convenient it would be if I could test the loco at the workbench, instead of having to take it back and forth to the train room. And all of a sudden, the sprog became the ideal device to do that. In essence, it's a tiny DCC command station. In order to control locos, it requires connecting to a computer that's running JMRI. It can then be used to control a small layout. It's not very powerful, working from a 12-volt 1.25 amp power supply, but it has enough power to control 2 or 3 locos, or maybe a couple if they've been sound fitted. However, my plan is to use it purely to test locos that I've recently DCC fitted, that I'll control using a throttle set up in JMRI. I'll also use it to change CV values of new locos, which can be done using Decoder Pro, which is part of the JMRI suite of applications. I can even use it in conjunction with my ESU decoder tester in order to configure a decoder before installing it into a loco. I think it's going to be an extremely handy device, and I'm glad I've added it to my suite of loco maintenance tools. Right, here's a quick running session featuring some of the new arrivals. Okay, so let's wrap this up. The Graham Farish Class 47 in BR Blue is a must-have loco for Shelfington, and I'm so pleased Bachmann have released it with new tooling. The Graham Farish RTC coaches in blue-red livery were a fantastic find for me and make up hugely for the disappointment of purchasing a wrong liveried RTC coach a few months ago. The 4-pack of War Department vans was excellent value for money and are a great addition to the free Bachmann Collectors Club van received earlier this year. With the extremely soft bristles of the cleaning brush set, I'm hoping they'll come in handy for giving my locos and rolling stock a quick dust down before I photograph them. The sprog is something I hadn't actively been looking for and could continue without, but it's an incredibly useful little device that will allow me to run trains, or more importantly test trains outside of the train room, at the workbench. So, do you have any of the items I've shown in this video? And if so, what have your experiences been with them? Good, bad or indifferent, please let me know what you think in the comments section. In the meantime, thanks ever so much for watching. Hopefully there'll be more new arrivals to report on in the coming months. Bye.